We are at an ICF house today with Jason Munch. He is an owner builder here in the Pacific Northwest. He started this house in 2023. It is now 2024. Everything you see on this house, he has done personally with the help of his friends and family. So this is purely owner builder. There are a handful of trades that he has hired out, but other than that, he has accomplished all of this. I want to walk you guys through the benefits, the struggles of ICF as an owner builder, and what it took to get us here today. So let's just dive right in. When you decided to build this way, using these practices, what was your thought process in choosing all that?
Honestly, at the time when we were filling out the plans and submitting paperwork to the county, lumber was really expensive. I mean, at that time, ICF was maybe about the same cost, maybe a hair more, but it's just a superior building method, right? Mm-hmm. It's a stronger building, it's a tighter building, it's a more energy efficient building. And at the time, the economics were pretty good. But it was probably another year before we actually started buying, so that benefit kind of went away because lumber went up really quick, yeah. and then concrete prices kind of slowly went up. Yeah. Fortunately, actually, after I did all of my pouring, I found out that they raised concrete prices even more. So I guess it could have been worse. I should consider myself fortunate.
Going about building this way, would you do it again? Would you copy paste the same method again?
Yeah, I would do ICF again. I just would be more careful on the design. This house was really not well designed for ICF because of some other things, but I would just make sure that you've got one basic perimeter. There can be some bends, but just one perimeter. You can see I've got multiple perimeters because my roof line goes down and then it goes back up. And really having the roof line go down and then back up really resulted in like more ICF that if we had maybe designed the home differently, we wouldn't have needed to use so much ICF. That's probably what I would do different.
So the overall process, constructing this yourself, you did this with your father-in-law and some other family and friends. How did that process go for you?
So the ICF, I basically hired a crew of high school and college kids to help me stack the blocks, okay? When I did the takeoffs for this, there were 1,800 blocks.
Oh my word.
It's a lot of blocks. For me, the critical thing was the person I was buying the block from was really knowledgeable, and he was willing to like answer my questions, and I could pay him to just like come out for the day and just show me what to do. And really not just with ICF, but with all aspects of the build.
So let's go to a section where we have some exposed bucks. So moving our way to the inside, this is the buck that Jason constructed. So this is how it's constructed. What we do is we take a 2x material, depending on where you use it, this dimension will change.
2x6 for doors and 2x8s for 2x8s for doors, 2x6s for windows.
Yeah, and then you do a 15-degree chamfer cut on these. And then you set it like this so it acts as an anchor. So when you pour concrete goes in and it acts as an anchor.
The concrete will grab that.
Yeah. And this is what, when you put a window on it, you screw into and it acts as, a solid surface to screw into.
The staples, I did a 7/16 crown staple. That was recommended to me by my ICF advisor. I don't know what I'd call it. But on this one, I actually put some spray foam down to try to seal that off. I felt like it was kind of lifting up if I put too much in, so I started putting a bead along there and along there to try to stop air from moving through to make the house a little bit tighter.
ICF, as I'm sure a lot of you might know, it's a very efficient way to build a house. And there's a common rule in the building world with heat loss, and it's 10, 20, 70. You lose 10% of your energy through the floor, 20% of it through the walls, and 70% of it through the ceiling. The ICF walls do plenty for the walls, plenty for the floors. What is your plan for the attic space?
Okay, yeah. Initially, I was just gonna blow into like an R49, but I do feel like the walls are so energy efficient, I had to like up my game, so to speak, for the attic, because then it's like an R49 is kind of underdone when your walls are like an R42 or so. So we're going to do 1 inch of spray foam, and that is going to seal, make it airtight so that air doesn't actually move through. And then we'll blow in enough insulation so the ending insulation will be an R60 between the spray foam and what we blow in.
With ICF, there are definitely a lot of differences in terms of how to install sheetrock and how to install siding, and the other practices are revolving around ICF and how to get the house built. How do you plan to put sheetrock on these walls?
We've got furring strips, they're marked here. There's a plastic stud in there. Compared to regular drywall on a wood wall, the big difference is you need to use a little bit of a longer screw. You got to make sure you don't over tighten it and strip the screw. You know, if we find a hump in the wall, I do intend to use the DeWalt cordless planer, and you can use that to smooth out the wall. I'd say those are the only differences I can think of. I haven't done it yet, though. That's where you have probably more experience than I do, for sure.
We didn't run into any issues with bumps in the wall, like stuff like foam. You kind of already got that taken care of.
Yeah,
that's pretty easy. But with exterior as well.
Oh yeah, ring shank nails. For siding, we're definitely going to use ring shank nails. Probably use a little bit longer of a nail.
But ultimately we can fasten directly to the ICF.
And we'll go for these strips. They're every 8 inches. I think siding you need 16 inches, so every other one will probably.
Which is cool because it allows you to do either every 8 inches, every 16, or every 24 inches, so you can meet your code standard. Are you doing any waterproofing on top of your ICF walls on the exterior? Or are you leaving it?
No, mainly because we don't have a basement. We did put a water membrane on the part that's below grade, but then other than that, we're not doing any other waterproofing on the outside. Just the siding and painting it is really what's going to protect it.
So we're going to head downstairs to my personal favorite part of the house. So we are currently standing where? Where are we?
We call it the sport court.
Sport court. What is the ultimate purpose of this space? Obviously a sport court, but what are you putting in this space?
Okay, so we'll have basketball. You'll be able to do volleyball, badminton, pickleball. We'll be able to set up a volleyball net. I'm actually going to anchor bolt a 2x10 up against that wall so that we can attach a net to it. And we've already put a post in the ground over there. And then there'll be a movie screen. We'll be able to watch movies in here too.
So it kind of is a multi-purpose.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is like when other homes have a formal living room upstairs and then they have like a rec room downstairs. Like that's what this is.
This is that rec room.
This is that basement rec room.
Just the big brother of that space.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
We just put it on steroids.
Yeah. All of the square footage combined, where are we sitting, including the gymnasium?
Including the sport court, we're at like 70. With the garages, it's like 77 square feet, 7,700 square feet with the garages.
What's the sport court alone?
The sport court, this is like 2,800 square feet.
Dimensions are 50?
It's the inside dimensions are like 46 by 62.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a quality size court right now.
Yeah. But you know, when you're building new, it actually doesn't add that much to the cost. When you're just integrating it into the design, it's not nearly as bad as you would think. I mean,
You stack this all yourself.
Yeah.
So one thing I see, a big red flag that I see as a builder, and what I've personally run into, I tried to build a 14-foot wall, and I hit all sorts of roadblocks. This is over 20 feet.
20 feet, 4 inches.
4 inches, and then you have the footer.
And then it's like another 2 feet. I think the entire wall is over 24 feet tall.
So we got 24 feet.
Yeah.
How in the world did you get this to pass with the county?
I had to get an engineer.
How was this engineered? How did you? What was the remedy?
Okay, so really, as far as engineering goes, it kind of starts at the top of the slab. So for these purposes of getting it approved, we're talking about a 20-foot wall. I am lucky enough to have a friend who is a structural engineer. From what I understand, he basically used the standard tables for just like an 8-inch thick concrete wall. Like the ICF didn't do anything, didn't change anything. He just said, if it was a 20-foot tall wall that was 8 inches thick of concrete, what kind of rebar would you need? And the big difference with this tall and supported wall is that we had to go with a thicker block. It had to be an 8-inch, and we had to put in a ton of, actually technically it wasn't a ton of rebar, it was like 3 tons of rebar that we put in this wall.
Saying a
actually.
ton of rebar is underestimated.
Yeah, that's actually saying there's a ton of rebar and this is low.
Well, this is a crazy build. Jason, thank you for letting us come take a look at it.
Sure.
And I'm excited to see this when it's done.
Yeah.
So
that's what everyone says.
yeah. I mean, I appreciate the building process, but I'm very excited to see it done.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to see it done too. Yeah.
well, thanks for letting us stop by.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.